Hey guys, Jacqueline Fernandez here at the Alert Center. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Today, Josh Planos is joining us from the Better Business Bureau to chat a little bit about Prime Day today. So there are plenty of deals online, and just in general, what are some online shopping best practices? So without further ado, let me just kind of introduce Josh. Josh, thanks so much for joining us today. Obviously, people are spending, a lot of money getting those deals, no matter how you look at it, one way or another. So, please do let us know. I mean, what are some best practices?
Yeah, Jacqueline, as you mentioned, a ton of money is changing hands today. You want to make sure that it's going to someone who's actually running a business because, believe it or not, some of those opportunities that are available online that sound too good to be true are. And they are also available on reputable websites. So you want to make sure, and this is not just about Prime Day, there's a whole bunch of other retailers that are also offering July sales events, and you want to make sure you're navigating those as effectively as possible. Maybe you're looking to get back to school supplies because school's right around the corner. Maybe you're looking to have a pet project get up off the ground. Whatever it may be, you want to make sure that you're relying upon some best practices that are available. For instance, researching that seller or retailer. Just because you see that product is available online and it has a boatload of customer reviews doesn't always mean that the product is exactly what you think it might be, right? You want to do some additional research on that retailer, make sure that they've got some contact information because you'd love to be able to get a hold of them if something were to go awry. Look them up on bbb.org, see if they're accredited, check out their profile and read those reviews. Probably more importantly, read whether or not they have any complaints against them and whether that company chose to respond to those complaints. All that information is incredibly important as you choose to make decisions that impact your bottom dollar.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And of course, you have it all easily laid out for us per usual, which I really appreciate. Your website, it's very easy to use, bbb.org. But if we head over, you have a online shopping headquarters that people can kind of take a look at. So I'm just going to kind of scroll down here. What to look for when buying online. This is kind of the first thing to click on, if you will. So, as you said, I mean, make sure everyone's legitimate, right? I mean, that's a huge one. Can we chat a little bit about 5 safe ways to shop?
Yeah, so one thing that this does a nice job of is making sure that you're doing your due diligence on the retailer in question. So many of us are looking for that perfect product and are not really thinking all that critically about the company that's providing it. The company that's providing it's the one that's ultimately making it possible to get to your front doorstep. You want to make sure that that company is worth your time and consideration. So things like contact information, things like proven reviews, things like having a couple of years in business. All of that is essential, not just because you know what to expect from that company, but because that company has proven to be trustworthy and worthwhile in the past. It's not to say that you should avoid all new companies. It's just that new companies really have a hard time proving that concept. And when you're forking out a considerable sum of money, as many are on days like today, you want to make sure you're working with a company that can actually get that product from point A to point B. Another thing I did want to touch on, Jacqueline, is today's a day it's really important to look out for things like social media advertisements. You're going to come across a lot of ads that purport to send you to sites that are offering these major retail sales events. Some of them are actually sending you to lookalike websites that at first glance might appear to be a trusted retailer, but if you look closer at the URL, you might notice that the domain name is slightly different. If you can avoid clicking on social ads throughout this week in particular, you'll be a lot better off. Typically, these ads and the deals that they provide access to are available if you click into that website on your own. So you want to make sure that you're navigating this space on your own conditions, your own terms, right?
Oh,
You
definitely.
It's just there's no way to know that ad itself is not actually redirecting you to a place you don't want to go. And sadly, a lot of scammers use that tool to snare unsuspecting victims.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And here's one of the bad guys that we're seeing on our screen counting his cash, right? If you do accidentally fall victim to clicking on, one of those advertisements. Talk a little bit about what you can do if you've been scammed. I mean, I know that we talk a
Mhm.
lot about what to do, avoiding those scams up front, but there are steps you can take, right? Especially on bbb.org on the website.
There is. If you go to bbb.org/scam tracker, you can walk through a perfectly free, perfectly simple process to report your experience. You can also see if others have gone through that experience as well. Maybe you do that before you provide personal or payment information to a company. You'll be a lot better off. But it's bbb.org/scam tracker. It takes all of 2.5 minutes to report your experience. You can be kept completely anonymous if you so choose. And it's a really good way to keep the public informed as to what it is that's happening and what it is that they can prepare themselves to avoid. Another thing, though, if you've paid with a credit card, you want to make sure you're disputing those charges. A lot of
Right.
times, folks won't know today, for instance, if they make a transaction, if they've been ensnared in a scam. Typically, it's after the product doesn't show up or the product shows up and it's not what they thought it would be.
Right.
So typically, you dispute those charges later on, but you do want to contest them through your credit card company if possible. Another recommendation we would have is to report that experience through the retailer in question. If you're buying things on Amazon today, if you're buying things on Target today, whatever retailer you choose, these companies want to know that someone out there is using their platform and not for good, right? So
Right.
all of these companies have dedicated fraud verticals that you can report your experience and can ultimately help sever the transaction before it's too late. So if you report through them, you'll be better off. But ultimately, you want to make sure you're reporting through a platform that actually protects your community, and that's where Scam Tracker comes in.
Yeah, and I love that. And here's just a quick Google look. Yeah, so you have that, here's the main link to your website, but then you do have the scam tracker highlighted here. So, pet scams, pyramid schemes, consumer fraud lawyers, cash app, tax fraud, excuse me. So, you can kind of tell people what's going on and how you were scammed and kind of, keep a track of those scams on bbb.org as well, just to make sure. But yeah, so plenty of resources for consumers on your website and just through these little discussions that we do together. So really do appreciate your time, Josh. Was there anything else that you wanted to add today, especially on this Prime Day?
Yeah, just one last piece of advice that we would offer is just because you see professional photos, which we've come to expect on many websites, it does not mean that you're facing a real offer. Photos can be stolen, they can be lifted from other websites very easily. So, I know it can be very enticing to believe what you see. You see a fantastic deal, you see a sales figure behind it. It looks perfectly buyable.
Right.
You want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence, even if everything looks like it's going to check out. Uh, I promise you, everyone who has been ensnared by a scam also thought that things were going to ultimately work out.
Right.
But if you can provide a little bit of space between yourself and making knee-jerk reactions or immediately purchasing something from a company you've never heard of before, you'll be a lot
Right.
better off. So stay safe out there.
Yeah, good call, Josh. Thank you so much for joining us today at the Alert Center. Appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds great. Thanks, Jacqueline.
Thank you. All right, guys, so thanks so much for joining me at the Alert Center. In the meantime, before we go, a lot cooler day out there, right? So very pleasant day forecast-wise. Let's take a live look outside. So here's a live look from our Blackstone camera. Looks kind of stormy out there. Our storm's on the way. You'll have to wait and hear from our meteorologists. Another look from a different angle, kind of looking back at Blackstone at the Turner Park area. That flag blowing in the wind, but it doesn't look too awfully windy out there, so that's good news. And then before we go, a quick look at 14th and Dodge. Yeah, so you can kind of see those storm clouds developing a little bit. But if you are just joining us here at the Alert Center, just want to chat with you. Josh Planos with the Better Business Bureau and I, we were talking about it's Prime Day today, right? So lots of people are spending some money, some cash out there, hoping to get those best deals. So we just chatted about some of the best practices for online shopping, something to keep in mind today and for future purchases as well. So I'm going to head over to our website, that is WOWT.com. Let's cut over there. You can always get more information on local news, national news, international news as it makes its way to our newsroom on our website, WOWT.com. Let me refresh this here. And speaking of Prime Day, I'm going to kind of scroll down for you. So this is our poll that we have online. Are you taking advantage of Amazon Prime Day? Yes or no? Let's click yes and see what happens. How many votes? Oh, wow. So majority of you voted so far. 73% say no, 27% say yes. Maybe you're saving some cash. Not a bad idea there. And then if we scroll back up, here's a good story for you. Amazon Prime Day deals are here. Should you take advantage of them, right? So this will be kind of our web extra. I'll let you head to our website, wwt.com, for that web extra and take a look at that. In the meantime, whoops, there we go. Thanks for joining me at the Alert Center. We will have more updates on this story for you in later broadcasts today, but be sure to stay tuned to our first broadcast, 1 to 3, with Dave Zavolinsky. And until then, have a wonderful day.